Welcome, class, to our informational session here. The whole idea for you guys here is to get familiar with what we're doing here tomorrow, which is we're going to be creating word problems. And then from those word problems, we're going to create an equation and solve the equation. So let's get into it, class. I'm going to full screen this. So the whole idea that I want you guys to really focus on is making this assignment your own. So, whatever topic you choose, I want it to have some sort of importance to you or something that intrigues you guys so the whole lesson is more interesting. For me, you guys will see that I chose basketball because I really like basketball and statistics. So, I ended up doing a basketball problem. And one thing that I'm going to recommend to you guys is selecting a topic that you can get data for. So, for example, for basketball, I'm able to use statistics and get data sets of whatever I want: most rebounds, most points, most wins, and I can generate infinite problems from that data. Another example could be using food. Say you want to look at a menu and the different prices for stuff. Say you want to use navigation and how many miles it takes to get from a certain place to another place. Be creative with it. Make this assignment your own. So now I want you guys to really think. I sort of put some clip art up here of stuff that you guys can think about for what you want to select. And whatever you select, remember it for tomorrow because that's what you're going to be using to create your own word problem. Getting into my example now, turning words into numbers. So for me, I chose basketball, and specifically, I looked at a couple players who will be in the Hall of Fame one day who were once teammates, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. And I wanted to figure out how many 50-point games each of them had. So in the data set, I'm able to already see the 50-point games, but I'm writing these problems up for someone who hasn't already seen that. So let's move on to the next slide here. So breaking news, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are both very good at basketball. Together, they each have 15 50-point games. LeBron James has 12 and Dwayne Wade has 3. There's a reason why I'm telling you guys specifically those numbers because it's going to help you guys when you start inputting your own data into these equations. So in the next slide, I'm going to set up the equation, but just be thinking about who you're going to solve for x. So in my problem, you're going to see that Dwayne Wade is going to be x because I'll show you right now. So, sorry you can't quite see all that. Let me go a little less than full screen. Okay, now you guys can see. So LeBron James has 4 times as many 50-point games as Dwayne Wade. The sum of their 50-point games is 15. How many 50-point games does each player have? So this is what a sample of your problem could look like. It would just have different variables. So instead of basketball, you could be using food. Instead of food, you could be using plants. The words don't matter. It's just the numbers that you're trying to solve for. But the words help make the numbers more interesting. So you see, if we had these same numbers up here, but let's say we were talking about apples and oranges, unless you have some obsession with fruit or apples or oranges, then the lesson wouldn't quite grab you as much. But I've made this my own because I've enjoyed watching both these players play a good portion of my life. So now I'm much more interested, and I really want to know how many 50-point games does each player have. So now we're going to write out the equation. So we know that LeBron has 4 times as many. So we're going to let X equal Dwayne Wade because it's 4 times as many as Dwayne Wade. So X represents Dwayne Wade, the 4X represents LeBron, and then the 15 represents the total of 50-point games that each player has. So now, on the next slide, we now have our equation. We now wrote out our problem. So now we're going to solve our equation. So very simple. X plus 4x equals 15. We're going to combine both x's. And now we have 5x equals 15. We'll divide both sides by 5. And we're left with x equals 3. And if you guys remember, x equals Dwayne Wade. So we know now that Dwayne Wade has 3 50-point games. So if we want to find out how many LeBron has, we just do 4 times 3, because we know that LeBron equals 4 times as many as Dwayne Wade. So now we know the answer. We know that Dwayne Wade has 3 50-point games, and we know that LeBron has 12. So remember this for tomorrow, guys. I hope this helps you get a little kickstart and gets you a little more familiar with what we're going to be doing tomorrow. As a quick side note, Wilt Chamberlain has 118 50-point games. Pretty amazing stuff. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for checking out this little presentation.